Hey, look, we're back. 4 days into the week. It's going to be a big show. Thank you all for joining us. Cooperville Live is about to get underway. It's going to be a good one today. Moriah Formica from the band Plush, who, by the way, just happens to be taking over the universe as we speak. Like it's happening right now. She took a break out of taking over the world to chat with us today. So we're thankful. Wherever you are tuning in, whether it's on Facebook Live, on YouTube, or on Twitch, thank you. Be sure to subscribe. Joe's already in the house throwing up devil horns. The man is ready to go. Joe's always ready to go. By the way, you can join our Patreon if you are so inclined to do so. Exclusive audio and live streams and pictures. We are dropping our merch line in a couple of months. Working with my friends from Devour the Day on that. You know, they put together some pretty badass stuff, so you're going to want to be a part of it. Join the Patreon. The link is in the comments of wherever it is that you are watching, and I appreciate it. Are you guys ready for this? Check this out. This is the future of rock and roll. It sits before you right there in a band called Plush. And I will preface it by saying this. They are a rock band first. They happen to be all females. But they will blow your mind. Super excited to bring in Moriah as she is in the green room and now on the show. Hello, Moriah, and thank you for being a part of the program.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
I'm super excited to talk to you, like I said, and thank you for taking a break out of world domination in order to chat with us today.
Oh my gosh, it's no problem. I'm so happy to be here.
Fighting aliens, you know, the new song Hate is climbing up the charts. It's Sirius XM Octane radio charts. This has got to be I want to say a whirlwind because we are in the middle of a pandemic. That thing's been going on for a year now, but you guys have just been lighting things up. But for you, this started at such a young age. I know you just posted like your first live performance was in 5th grade, which means you were like 10 years old. 10 years old, just cranking out Eye of the Tiger for the whole school. It was fantastic. It was just amazing. Thank you for sharing that with the world.
Oh my gosh, of course. I thought I found it and I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, everybody has to see this. Because it it was so long ago I had it and then it like disappeared for like 7 years. It disappeared.
No, it was fantastic. And it goes to show, I mean, that's 5th grade. I have a child who's in 5th grade. He's 10. And I'm like, I hope you can tie your shoes today. So the bar is a little bit different, but you started at such a young age. Do you remember when like you figured out or somebody told you like you have this impeccable voice, this voice that like is generational? Like, do you remember somebody saying like, I think you're onto something here. Maybe you should pursue this.
Well, I started guitar first around like 5 or 6 maybe. And I didn't start singing until like 9 or 10. That was when I really, really found out that I could sing. And it was because I was at my cousin's graduation party. They were having it at my house. And my friend and I were doing karaoke. And she's like, hey, you want to do Rolling in the Deep by Adele? And I'm like, yeah, I like that song, whatever. And, I didn't say anything when I was a kid. Like, I am like an extreme introvert. And I was even worse when I was little. And I didn't say anything. So I was just like, yeah, sure, whatever. And so we started doing it. And I think her dad came back to like tell us that the food was ready or something. And then I happened to be singing at the same time. And next thing I knew, he's like, do your parents know you can sing? I was like, yeah. He's like, hold on 1 second. So he goes to get back my parents. He goes back to get my parents and he's like, do you know your daughter can sing? They're like, no, she doesn't even say anything. She doesn't even talk. We didn't know she could sing. And so next thing you knew, everybody was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. And yeah. And then, I just fell in love with it. And I shortly after started taking voice lessons at around 11 and decided that it was, I loved it. I loved it.
I mean, it's such a powerful voice, and obviously your guitar talents are impeccable as well. It's so cool to see it all come together as one when we talk about Plush. But I know for you, things started a little bit earlier. with a solo career, and I want to get to a little bit of that. But do you remember, you mentioned Adele, and I know that you can just throttle any heart song that they put in front of you. They're like, here's like the biggest voice in rock, the female voice in rock probably ever. Like, yeah, I'll go do some heart and I'll just knock it out of the park. But were they early influences of yours? When you talk about Adele, you talk about like Ann and Nancy Wilson. Like, who do you remember being like the bands when you did start to find your voice? Well, first you probably started talking, then you started to find your voice. Do you remember the artists that you were listening to that really were inspiring, that really kind of honed you in this, the soul of rock and roll path?
Yeah, I mean, as far as like music in general, and what really inspired me to first pick up a guitar at around 5 or 6 was actually Aerosmith and Joe Perry's guitar playing.
Yeah.
There was just something about it. I mean, I loved guitar in general. I fell in love with it. But something about Joe Perry's playing, like, and I would just lock myself in my room for hours and try and, noodle around and try and figure out different Aerosmith songs. And I wouldn't come out until I knew at least a part of one Aerosmith song a day. I was obsessed. I was completely obsessed. But with singing, I remember, my biggest influences being Amy Lee. My biggest influence, actually, straight up, my biggest vocal influence is Amy Lee from Evanescence. And then shortly after came Lizzie Hale from Hailstorm. I know, big shocker, right? But yeah, those are honestly my 2 biggest influences. Hayley Williams from Paramore was another huge one. Lady Gaga is a huge one. So those are, I would say those 4 are the biggest ones. Ironically, I know I love to sing a lot of heart stuff. I love heart. I love, Ann Wilson's voice is, like you said, like the standard, right? For females in rock. I mean, it doesn't get any better. But those 4 females, I think, were the biggest influences on me, definitely.
Those are all such heavy hitters. I mean, it's not, and powerful and soulful, and have such an amazing range, that, I mean, you really went after, like, here's the top of the mountain. Those are the ones I want to follow. And I think, given, what we've had a chance to hear from you, not only from, you're being on The Voice, and then also from Plush, like, you're like on that mountain, just like clawing your way up, because the future is you being on top of that mountain. I'm making a bold prediction.
Wow.
Like,
thank you so much.
It all comes from not just the vocal capabilities, but the fact that you have the capabilities to do it, but the sound comes from somewhere really, really deep inside. It's not, hey, I can sing, it's cool, I'm going to do this. It's like, no, I feel what you are singing. Like, it penetrates into, like, the frontal cortex of the brain and then down into the soul. You're like, that's it. She's speaking to me. So those are some good ones to follow.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it so much. Thank you. I always hope that people can feel where I'm coming from and relate to my music and stuff like that.
Well, I think when you have a genre like rock, which is really synonymous with having artists, and a lot of them you mentioned in here, that the music it's so deep. It's not surface value. It's not,
100%.
It grabs you, and people can, when you have fans, they gravitate towards it, and their message, whatever it is, however you wrote a song, can resonate with somebody in, like, this emotional way, and they're, like, forever attached to that voice, that song. So the rock genre really has embraced this sense of unity, and I want to talk to you about that, because I was listening to an interview where you made a comment about some of the rock industry has to work on their camaraderie with one another. So we'll get to that a little bit later on in the interview. But you find your voice singing an Adele song, of all artists to sing. Like, yeah, we'll just pop an Adele song out here. But does that transpires over a short period of time? Because I know you weren't much older than that age when you started doing kind of a solo thing, and a solo thing with a backing band. I mean, a lot happened over the course of that. Hey, look, I can sing, to, oh, here I am with my own band.
Yeah. I mean, it happened. Yeah, it did. It happened pretty fast, honestly. Also, disclaimer, I want you to know I am looking directly at you. It's just that
I
my
know.
web. Okay, good. I just want you to
Yeah.
know my webcam is, it looks like I'm like staring off into space, but my webcam is like over here, and then you're on my screen over here. It's just weird, but I
No,
am looking at you.
you're look, you're looking at the computer where the world domination. You're just seeing like, okay, like we're moving over here and we're just going to take over Russia now. I get it. Like
I'm
it's
dead.
cool.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
um, but yeah, things did move pretty fast after that because I always liked to sing. I always loved music. So it was something that, it was almost like it was very new, but it was also like a familiar feeling. It was weird. It was like just something that I was always supposed to do, if that makes sense. And um, it was only, I think that same year, actually, at about 10 years old, I started taking voice lessons at a place called Modern Day Music up near where I live in New York. And it just completely transformed me. And I loved, my first thing that I would want to start working on in voice lessons was always, my voice teacher would be like, okay, so what do you want to work on today? Evanescence. Evanescence, 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 evanescence. When I was little,
Yeah.
I mean, I just adored Amy Lee. Like, she was my hero, and I would always try and sing things that I'm like, that's okay, but like, would Amy Lee approve? I don't think so. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, like with me,
Get it?
and I would always so it did. It progressed pretty fast, and by the time I was like 11 or 12, I was in like little kid bands,
Yeah.
playing like bowling alleys and stuff like that.
That's crazy. And just I love the evanescence, the magnet towards Amy Lee. I mean, and that
Yeah.
again, we're still on the same, upper echelon of vocalists who, I mean, Amy Lee's voice. I mean, obviously you're but when they
Oh,
first
it's
hit the scene,
insane.
I was like, wait, I mean, this girl could sing in any genre. I mean, she'd be like, today I want to do pop. Today I
Yeah.
want to do, today I want to do, I'm going to do some Broadway stuff. But to have that combination of that voice and a real solid rock group behind her was like,
Right.
oh, here's a game changer. This will be fun to watch.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It
No,
was just completely. Oh, it was like my parents had an Evanescence CD. They had Falling, the
yeah.
first album, and they would always play it on, like long car rides or whatever, and I just was always drawn to them, always. And it was definitely, that her beautiful, haunting, like gorgeous, intense voice with, like the metal music behind her. It was
Yeah.
just something that was so different to me, and I loved it. And it
Yeah.
was like you said, like it was intense. It made me feel, and it helped me. The lyrics also helped me too.
Yeah. Going Under is probably still my favorite Evanescence song of all time. Going
Yeah.
Under.
Oh my gosh,
Her
it's a great
second,
song.
her second release off of Fallen was just like, oh, wow. That's deep, man. Wow. And I'm a dude, so I'm supposed to be all like, tough. I'm really not. It's a lie. But I was like, oh, like she's speaking to me. She's into my soul again.
Right.
So you're doing the kid band stuff, which is, I'm just trying to imagine somebody with your talent, like in a band and then like looking back going, really? This is who you brought me? Like, give me Joe Perry in the back here. We're trying to make music. But you go from, having a group, yourself in front, and then having a group, and then auditioning for The Voice, making it onto The Voice. Tell me about that experience, because I've talked to other voice artists, those who have made it onto the live shows, have made it towards the end. We have a local guy around here who made it to, I think he came in second, Chris Cruzy, from a couple of years ago. And I've had a chance to talk to him. Like, that experience for you, like, what is it like when you're 16 years old? Here you are in Hollywood, and you're, singing a freaking Heart song. And, we've had that conversation about, Top of the Mountain. And then you have all of this talent from all genres in front of you in chairs. Like, tell me about your nerves going into that situation and really just nailing it.
I honestly, like, it was really surreal. Like, at 16, I did not think that I was going to be doing that. I just didn't. I didn't see it coming. I knew that I was, I would have, I hoped, but I just never even actually pictured myself on one of those TV shows.
Mhm.
And at first, actually, when my dad approached me, I was like, no, absolutely not. Those TV shows, they hate rock and roll and blah, 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 blah. And then I was like, you know what? I'm 16. How stupid would it be if I didn't go? Because it's like, all that you get out of the shows now is exposure, and exposure never hurts, So it was just an incredible experience. And it was really, in fact, I don't actually remember exactly how I felt on stage because I actually was so nervous. I kind of blacked out, and it was like I went into autopilot and completely like dissociated. And it was like my body just took over, and it was like a primal reaction that my body just took over, and it was like it just knew what to do, and I closed my eyes and I opened them, and there was 4 judges turned around, and it was incredible. It was ridiculous. I couldn't even believe it. I went in there thinking, okay, all you need is one. All you need is one. And I was expecting maybe 2, 1, like I 4, it was pretty freaking amazing to and it's not like they're just randos. Like that's Blake Shelton, that's Blake Shelton, Miley Cyrus, Jennifer Hudson, who I love, and Adam Levine. Like that's, you know what I mean? That's representative of almost every genre, almost not every genre, but it's, most of the mainstream genres. That's it right there. And so it was incredible to have them all be interested and want me on their team.
Yeah, and receiving such great accolades from the judges, which I imagine, and it's gone on from there. Obviously, Lizzie Hale has had great things to say about you as well. We talked about her, but to have that kind of, I don't want to say their accolades, but a reinforcement of what you're doing. Like you're on this musical journey, not winning the Voice is, sometimes winning the Voice doesn't necessarily, lead to great things, but to have that experience and to have those moments, not only with the judges, but with the other contestants, like, what do you take out of getting that kind of confirmation that you're like, okay, I think what I'm doing is going to be my life's path, my life's work is going to be in music.
Yeah. I always knew from the time I was little, like I always say, like, I didn't choose music, it chose me, because it was just something in my soul. I didn't know, like, you just have those, you're just born with certain instincts. And I feel like music was just always one of them. It was just always a part of my soul. And I was just like, yes, this is what I'm supposed to do. But with that experience, it just completely reassured, that I was, especially getting the 4 chair turn, because it meant so much to me, because I was like, if they recognize this in me at 16, imagine where I could be, at 20, and I'm 20 right now. And so it was amazing, and it was humbling, and it was a turning point, really. I learned new confidence. I learned new things about myself, like how much endurance I'm capable of, and how much my body can really go through. I met my best friend in the entire world on that show, and it's just amazing. It's a really, and it's also, honestly, one of the most exciting and incredible parts for me was being around all the other singers too. Like I'm not trying to, I'm not saying just because I was on it, but I don't care. Take me out of the show. That season was, in my opinion, I don't really watch it that much, but I can't picture it getting much better than that. You had one of my great friends, Janice, who sadly passed away, but there was Janice Freeman, there was Brooke Simpson, Carly Webster, Adam Pearce. Like, they're just incredible. And I remember just being so humbled and so excited to be in the presence of such greatness, And it's just really an amazing experience that I think every single person, whether you make it to only the blinds or you make it to the very end of the show, is everybody should be very, very grateful to have that experience.
Do you take a lot of I want to say notes, but like mental notes from artists, like when you're surrounded by all of that talent in on the show, and even just being out, and you've had a chance to meet and rub elbows with a lot of people in the industry.
Right.
Do you take kind of mental note of different tactics, different warm up procedures? Do you kind of, you know, part of like a live show, and you're like, like I like that thing. Are you always kind of just interpreting and like a sponge, kind of like absorbing different things from different artists, especially when you're in such close proximity on a show like The Voice?
Oh, totally. They had me doing things on The Voice that I thought I would never do. I mean, before, I remember a couple other contestants, they were in the back doing like little shots of like whatever it was. And I was like, yo, what are you guys doing? Like, we're about to freaking go out here and do a show and you guys are doing freaking shots. And they're like, no, it's olive oil. And I'm like, oh, well, that's pretty gross. And so they're like, no, you don't understand. Listen, your voice is going to be like, so I was like, fine. I was like, this is going to be gross, but whatever. So I took the shot of olive oil, and it was like, I felt like my voice could slide anywhere I wanted it to. And it just felt so lubricated and so like smooth. And so that was something that I would never do if I wasn't surrounded by other artists and people that had their own way of doing things. Other things that I would take from just different artists were just different breathing techniques. You know, like, I'm a very nervous person, and so I get extremely nervous before every single show. It doesn't matter if it's a bar, it doesn't matter if it's the stage of The Voice, it doesn't matter if it's NAMM, it doesn't matter what it is. I get extremely nervous, and a lot of watching other people's breathing techniques were very, very helpful to me, you know, to help catch my breath. So I definitely am always. Another one that I've learned from another artist was doing like some form of like cardio or some jumping jacks before you go on stage to get all that nervous energy out, or to help, you know, get your core muscles going so that you can have, you know, your diaphragm can work better while you're on stage. So I'm definitely a sponge in that sense, and, you know, observing and different techniques that everybody's doing.
Are you still doing shots of olive oil before you perform?
I don't still do that.
Well, I wonder if that was going to be like a tradition that you carried on. You know,
it was too gross, but I did do it. I did it several days on set of The Voice. I did.
Okay, so make sure it wasn't like this, like the secret of rock and roll is like, you know, Axl Rose wasn't really doing shots of Jack Daniels before his show. It was a Jack Bob. Olive oil. He's like, yeah, I'm a badass. You're like, whoa, wait, oh, it's just a little olive oil. It'll be fine. I'm sure of it. Yeah, it's not. Oh, I love it. So you go from The Voice, and then like, tell me about going from that into the formation of Plush. And I do have to give a shout out to my buddy Tim King, who I've been friends with for many years in the band Soil, obviously with Pavement and working with him. And I remember him saying, dude, you have got to hear this. And I was like, what? At first I thought it was going to be Soil, but I'm like, you guys aren't doing anything. You're just like hanging out, like like, what did you discover the internet and you're doing stuff like, you know, on Voice Memo? And he's like, no, I got this group that you got to hear. And he played Plush for me. But I want to talk about like how the creation began, because it's a really kind of a cool story, and it involves, you know, the internet, it involves Instagram. So tell me about the formation of Plush, you know, from beginning to where you guys are now.
Yeah, so it was, you know, I was doing the solo thing for a while, and it was great. We had a lot of I had a backing band. We had a lot of great experiences together, and we got to play all over the country, and it was great. But I kind of realized, like, at the same time, actually, before the pandemic hit, just before it, I had just got back from playing NAMM, and I was like, you know, I'm so grateful for the experiences that I've had, but am I 100% happy with where I'm at right now? Because when I look back to all the people and the artists that I looked up to when I was younger, they were all a part of a band, you know. And I wanted that. I wanted to be a part of a band. And you know, I just was like, okay, so what now? What can I do? Because I feel like I was listening too much to what other people thought I should do. You know, oh, you know, stick with the solo thing. It'll preserve this and blah blah, which I get. You know, and I'm grateful for everyone's input, but I just had to follow my gut. And just around that time, the pandemic just happened to hit, and you know, I found Brooke on Instagram, and I was like, there is no way this girl is 16 and she plays like that.
Right.
And I was like, and then I DM'd her and I found out that she didn't live too far away from me. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I have to meet this girl and we have to jam at the very least. Like we just have to jam together. And so we did. And it was just instant chemistry. I mean, it was unmistakable, you know, and we felt like we had something special together. And you know, we started thinking and brainstorming how we could find some other players. And at that point, we weren't just like, yes, it has to be all girls. Like, you know what I mean? It was just kind of like an organic thing. And we just happened to be two musicians who were girls. And, you know, we had great chemistry together. And she was like, well, you know, I have a friend who I went to school of rock with, and she's a great bass player, and you know, she's a great friend of mine, and I really think that she would gel well with us. So she introduced me to Ashley Supa, who's our bass player, and again, you know, the three of us got together and we jammed, and again, it was just instantaneous. The chemistry, it was amazing, and so we were getting really excited, and you know, we talked to management, and right around the same time, I signed with Pavement. And it all literally just came together. It was so freaking weird. And it wouldn't have happened if the pandemic didn't. So it really is a blessing in disguise, even though there are some opportunities that are missed on because of it too. But, you know, then Pavement really got behind us and we're like, you know, we believe in you. We're going to help you as much as we can. And you know Tim and Mark, and they're just great people, and they have, you know, believed in this since day one. And they had put out a post basically saying, you know, hey, this is who we are, this is what we're looking for, and talking about guitar players. And Lizzie Hale got a hold of that post, and she ended up retweeting it. And our lead guitar player, Bella Perron, ended up seeing it from Lizzie Hale's page and reached out to Pavement. And that's how we met Bella. We loved her, we fell in love with her, and yeah. And then we all got together and we were like, yeah, that's a wrap.
and here we are, ready to go back ready for world domination, as we talked about in the open. Excuse me, while we tracking the aliens and all the other stuff you got going on. It's a busy life, I understand. You know, it's great to hear that in the midst of all this, in the last year plus, that there's obviously been a lot of negativity. There's been a lot of harshness. There's been, you know, for music fans, there's obviously been that lacking element of live shows, and obviously there hasn't been an abundance of music released just because of, you know, the situations that we're all dealing with. But not only to be able to form this group, to by happenstance find Brooke on Instagram, and she lives down the road, you know, and then I know you guys did like this crazy heart again, we're back to heart again, this crazy cover that's got like a bazillion views, and but then you find all these other pieces to this puzzle, and it gels, you know, like it just all of a sudden you have this magic that's happening. Now, how do you during all of this and the issues that arise with whether it's travel, whether it's we can't be in the same room together, how do you go about formulating a song like Hate when you have, you know, obstacles that normally wouldn't be there? You could get together in a room, you know, in a normal day and age, and write a song and go back and forth with stuff. Like how did Hate come to be, and obviously as that continues to dominate the world?
Well, you know, it was a lot of back and forth, you know, sending Pro Tools sessions back and forth, and you know, voice memos, and hey, what do you think about this? And a lot of video chats and stuff like that. it was really a lot of that, and that's how the song came together. And everybody just kind of put their own flair on it, and really we went into the studio, and it all came to life in the studio, and the producer gets a hold of it and helps bring it to life. And in this case, Johnny K, who produced this song, and he's incredible. He really helped our visions come together. And it was really amazing because he shared a lot of the same vision. It was, I was thankful because I know a lot of it could also be like a nightmare. You go in wanting a certain thing, and then the producer's like, well, we're actually going to be doing this. So, and,
Wait, that wasn't what my feeling. That wasn't my idea. Why are we going?
Right, exactly.
That's something else in my mind. Yeah.
Right. And so I really, really respected that about Johnny. And, he just wanted everybody to be happy, but also making sure that we had the best thing for the song. And it's just a really awesome working relationship with Johnny K. And that's what really, really helped this song come together.
Well, it's a fantastic song. If nobody's heard it yet, I don't know what planet. They're probably living on another planet that you're trying to dominate, maybe like Mars. But tell me about like the writing process for you in writing something like Hate, because obviously we talked about it a little earlier. Is that rock has this way of connecting emotionally. Like you sing that song, I'm like, oh damn, like I feel like I should apologize. I mean, I didn't do it, but like I should apologize to you. Like this poor girl, like she's gonna kick that guy's ass. So what's happening here? But like, tell me about like going through the writing process with this song, because it is like it's super rock and it's super heavy but it's super melodic. It's got all the pieces of the puzzle put together. But the writing process itself, where does that emotion come from you?
Well, it comes from a lot of the time whenever I write a song, like most of the time actually. When I write a song, actually all of the time, whenever I write a song like that, it comes from an extremely deep place. And a lot of the times it's whenever I feel like I just, I have nowhere else to go and I can't do anything else about the situation. It's like a therapy for me because it's always been a therapy for me to put, because I've not always been the best at articulating how I feel. And being a super introvert doesn't help with that because you don't love to talk. But I think a lot of it came from not being able to articulate how I felt very well at first, and so I would put a lot of that into music. Well, I'm like, okay, if I can't explain this, how does my heart sound? How would my heart sound right now? And then the words just come once I have the music, but it comes from a deep place, of heartbreak and pain turns to anger, and a lot of that stuff. And so that's really where it comes from, is a situation where you're heartbroken and you feel betrayed, but and you hate all these things about this person, and you hate the situation, and you hate a lot. You hate almost everything about them. But the thing that you hate the most is that you still love them, and you still care. So that's really where the inspiration for Hate came.
Well, it's a beautiful, menacing, kick in the teeth song, and congratulations on the success of it thus far. I mean, I know it's early on, but it's already, obviously, like I mentioned, it's climbing the radio charts, getting lots of love on Octane, and of course all over the interwebs as well, with the video being released. And I know it's 2021 is like the world's biggest question mark. It's like we kind of knew after a while, we figured out 2020 was kind of like, well, all right, so nothing.
Yeah.
But 2021 has kind of got this weird, like, we don't really know what's going to happen.
Right.
We don't what's going to be open. There's obviously some places that are and some places that aren't. But what is like Plush's tentative plans for the year? I mean, I know you have the hot song that's out right now. I'm sure just you describing your writing process, there's more songs.
Yeah.
Somewhere hidden under your plans to dominate the world. I'm sure. Lift up one folder and there it is. But like, what do you envision your 2021 looking like as we move forward?
Well, we're definitely going to be putting out an album this year.
Awesome.
So we're going to be putting out our first album, which I'm really, really excited for. I've only put out an EP when I was like 14, so I've never put out an album before. So I'm really, really excited for that. And then getting to do it with, other like-minded musicians who I love is even better. But aside from that, from putting out an album, I think that our goals are really just to continue to grow our fan base and connect with the fans, and show the world who we are, what we're about, and continue to fight for rock. That's really what we're hoping to do. And also, I really, really hope that live shows get back in the game this year. I know that there's a lot of talks about things happening. Like a lot. So hopefully it happens. But as we know, obviously things are super uncertain. But yeah, definitely live stream shows I think we're going to be doing, and, new music too.
That's awesome. I mean, it's good to have that feeling of the album is on the horizon, and more new music. I know loving hate as much as I do. I know there's always that second single, and then there's the album, and then it'd really be cool to go out and play a show. Some you guys probably haven't had the opportunity to do that as of yet. But I think there's something about the band and kind of your message, and I know it's on the website, about kind of bringing rock back into the forefront, into a viable entity. I did 20 years in rock radio, and it's always been the underdog fight. We're always kind of clawing for the attention. We get snubbed at award shows, and then we're like, do we really care about award shows?
Right.
But there's something about Plush that feels like a unifier, because it's got all of the elements that rock needs to possess, forward momentum, energy, voice, all the instrumental talent that's in there. Do you feel like the mission of Plush, not only to release great music and to engage with your fans, but is to kind of be a powerful driving force behind kind of getting rock to where it needs to be, and maybe break up some of the divisiveness that exists even within the genre?
100%. It would be awesome to be that, and all we can do is hope and try, you know what I mean? But that would be an amazing thing, because I think that there aren't a ton of all girl mainstream rock bands. There just aren't, and there hasn't been for a while. And so we thought that, how cool would it be, to do this? And also, since we're, some of us are still teenagers, and I'm 20, and, I think a lot of kids can relate to, maybe more so than somebody who's in their 30s or whatever. Like not bashing or anything. Like it's just that's how it is, that's how I am. I'm more likely to relate to somebody who's, 25 rather than 35. You know what I mean? So that's why I think a lot of bands, like, the younger ones, like Greta Van Fleet and The Warning, and now us, like, I think it's really important for the livelihood of rock. I really do.
No, I would agree 100% with that. And not even to bring into that conversation, which you kind of touched on, is that you are an all-female rock band. But I said in the open, I said you're a rock band who happens to be all-female. But there is a certain, like, it breaks down some, maybe some barriers for a young fan who's like, oh, wow, like, I can drum, or I could play the bass, or I could sing, I can do all these things, because you're kind of setting the example. And there's been examples that have been set for you too. Obviously, we talked about Amy Lee, we talked about Lizzie, we talked about all the great talent that you followed. So what a great torch to carry. I mean, that's got to be, I want to say it's not even a burden. It's more like the privilege of carrying this torch for a younger generation of musicians, and driving them into a genre that sometimes seems like it's like, no, we have to be more open. Like, we want more of the young talent to come over and play over here, instead of automatically making that jump into pop music, because it seems to be seems to be a little easier. So I'm just super stoked for the potential. of that element of it and what you guys are already doing. I mean, just a year in and just world domination.
Well, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that.
Awesome. Moriah, thank you for the time. PlushRocks.net, Plush Rocks on Instagram and Twitter, and Plush Official on Facebook. Follow them on all the socials. The video for Hate is out on YouTube. And, of course, call your radio station, call SiriusXM, call everybody and say, just play the song. Play the song so Moriah can get back to planning domination of the world. Thank you so much for the time. What a great conversation. What a great time today. And thank you to all your fans who jumped on here. We got a ton of comments. I'm just going to throw some of these on here. We got Curtis saying an amazing voice.
Oh, thank you, Curtis. I really, really appreciate that.
Congratulations from Sean Smith here. Rock on.
Thank you, Sean.
Matt jumping in. Awesome, amazing voice. You followed her for a while. So talented. From Rebecca. Dennis wants his hands on your upcoming album. So make sure Dennis gets his copy.
Oh, you will, Dennis. I promise.
And we got Boston over here. Been a fan since he heard you audition on The Voice. So a lot of
thank you so much.
A lot of great comments on here. Tons of people. Lot of devil horns flying up in the air. So they're all on the same page. We all get it.
Wrong way.
Moriah Formica. There. World domination camera and this camera here. Thank you so much for the time. And I'm so happy we got a chance to catch up. And hopefully we'll be seeing you at a live show here sometime very soon. For
sure. Thank you so much. This was very, very fun.
Awesome. Glad you had a good time. I did too. Let's chat before you take over this neck of the woods so that I have time to get out. Thanks, Moriah. Take care of yourself.
All right. You too. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Moriah Formica, Plush. If you're not following them, shame on you. Where's my camera? Now I'm looking over here like, where's my camera? Follow them. They are on all the social medias. This is their website, plushrocks.net. You can go and follow them there. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff today. And thanks to all of you who joined in. Several hundred people here on the live stream. A lot of comments coming in. We'll throw some of these on here. Debbie saying one of the best performers ever. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Great vocals, great band. That's coming from Doug. Joe's got the devil horns in the air. Yes, sir. Loving it. Great talent. Thoughts? It was a question. We missed them. We missed the question. Very cool stuff. Thank you to everybody who tuned in. By the way, if you missed any of the conversation we had with Moriah from Plush, you can go back. Obviously, the video still exists on Facebook. It'll be there. YouTube, search Cooperville. Make sure you subscribe. The video will be posted on there. And also twitch.tv/No Limit Cooper. Or if you are on the Twitch, No Limit Cooper, make sure you follow on there as well. Great conversation with a great artist. Special thanks to Tim King and Mark over there at Pavement for setting things up, and Barbara as well. Great team that they got behind them, and that's so important when you talk about a group as talented as Plush is they have a great team behind them, and they put this all together during all of this. I mean, that's impressive. That is very impressive. So. Very cool stuff. Plushrocks.net and at PlushRocks on the social medias. Very cool stuff. Hate is the new single from Plush. Awesome. Thank you all for tuning in. We're going to take a 5-minute break, come back, and we'll roll through the headlines here really quick. If you are watching the show and you want to follow us on all of our social medias, that would be awesome. Search for Cooperville Live and be a part of it. We do this every single weekday starting at 5 p.m. We chat with musicians. We chat with entrepreneurs. We chat with doctors. We chat with everybody. We talk to all the people. So be a part of the show anytime you want, 5 p.m. Central on Facebook Live, on YouTube, and on Twitch. We'll take a 5-minute break, and we'll be right back after this. And we're back on Cooperville Live. Thank you for being a part of today's show. Moriah Formica from Plush, thank you for the time, the conversation, and the great insight. What a great story that she has, just from such a young age. Like I was telling her, I'm like, she posted a video on her Facebook fan page, and she was like, "Here's me in 5th grade, like my first ever live performance," and she's just crushing Eye of the Tiger, just killing it. And so she's 10, right? Because I have a son who's in 5th grade. He's 10. He's more of an MIT guy. Like he's going to go to MIT and take over the world that way. Her musically taking over everything. Hate is the single. If you haven't heard it, go and look up Plush Hate and the video on YouTube. And of course, call your local radio station and ask them to play it, or just keep on streaming on all the music platforms. I was listening to it on Amazon Music today, I believe. So go and check it out. A couple of comments here. Yes, Lindsey Martin. Hey, we're from Wisconsin too. That's where the show's done. Wisconsin. Yeah, they do. They need to come to Wisconsin. 100%. And we're open. We got music festivals and stuff happening, so they can come up, play a show. That'd be awesome. Very cool stuff. We have a show coming up tomorrow, 5 p.m. So make sure you join us Central Time. We'll be here on Facebook Live, on YouTube, and on Twitch. Big week next week as well. Tons of guests. Now, if you want exclusive access to the content, find out who's going to be on the show before we announce it anywhere else. Join the Patreon. That link is over in the comments wherever you are watching. They could be over here. They could be up there. They could be down there. Wherever you are. Feel free to join the Patreon. Got 3 different levels. Keeps the show going. Keeps the power on. Keeps the lights going. And when stuff breaks, it helps us repair it. So we appreciate the support. So thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for subscribing to wherever platform you are watching on. We'll be back again tomorrow with Cooperville Live in person. Until then, take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. We say bye-bye.